Hey everybody, this is Dr. Keith with Dads4Life. Thank you, Desiree. I saw you come in. I appreciate it. Hey, I see Jeff is in the house. Thank you. I saw a few more come in. Ryan is in the house. Thank you so much, guys. It has been just an awesome scope train, Ryan. I want to thank you. You see, how are you? Very much, Purple Queen. Good to see you. Stevie, thanks for coming in. It's so good to see what you're doing tonight, Ryan. You are just reaching lives and talking about having people tell their story a little bit. Kathy, thank you for coming in. And I'm going to be short, but I've got something powerful, I think. Thanks, Clearwater, for coming in. Debbie, thank you. The woman behind the smile. Now, that's a story, Ryan. You've got to connect with her. She has got a story. Send up some emojis, Debbie, so Ryan will know who you are. Firecatcher, thank you. Lisa, thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. I've got just about 9 minutes left here, so I'm going to get going. Welcome to everybody now and in the future, okay? I'm just going to get going. Hey, everybody, I just want to tell you a quick story. A story of tragedy, a story of almost tragedy, and a story of God's mercy, okay? I tell you what, it was 1969, August 9th, 1969, a Saturday morning. 11-year-old boy is sitting out. Thank you for all the invites, by the way, and tweets out, and followers and all that coming in. I appreciate it. I was an 11-year-old boy sitting out on my carport, and I saw my dad come out, and he had had some life issues running his own business. It was stressful. It was very stressful. And then one day he walks out on a morning that our pastor of our church, and he hadn't been there in a while, my dad hadn't, just happened to walk by. And let me tell you that when he walked by, my dad came up with a smile because I saw them praying, and he said, "Boy, we're going to go to church with you tomorrow." I thought that was awesome, right? Because I was the one going to church for the whole family, right? I had 2 brothers, a mom and a dad. I'd lost a brother already. And I tell you, so it was tough for an 11-year-old boy. Thank you, Debbie, for doing that. I could tell you this, that my dad had a different smile on his face. He had a different walk in his walk. He had a different persona about him. And I was just, oh my goodness, thank you, Ryan. But I appreciate that. I'm trying just to go forward here, okay, because I'm trying to read comments like I normally do. But I got a short story to tell. And what I'm going to do now is just tell you what happened. My dad had that different smile about him, that different walk in him, that different talk in him. He was sick the next morning and didn't go to church with us. He was sick all day long. He was having symptoms of a heart attack. We did not know that. I was awakened at 2 a.m. in the morning because I was allowed to lay in the living room on Sunday night, and we watched a family show together, and I realized my dad had died right behind me one night. At 2 a.m. I realized this. I was an 11-year-old boy and went in and locked myself in the bathroom and cried for a while. And thought, wow, my dad gave his life to the Lord the day before he died. That's how short he was about to enter eternity, right? We don't know that. We don't know the things. We don't know the people we're talking to. The pastor did not walk by our house. He just happened to feel like to walk by our house that morning, but I believe it was a divine appointment. You know, I didn't even tell you who I was, but that's okay. We'll get that in just a moment, all right? But that's a story of tragedy. The story of almost tragedy was in 1975, where my mom, a single widow now, had been taking care of me and doing her very best for the family, working hard. I went to work as a 12-year-old boy, and I decided that I would start helping my mom, and I'd give her my commission selling newspapers and everything. And I tell you, I didn't know how to cope with it as an 11-year-old boy. I held everything internally in. And then one day as a middle school kid, I was so taken back by these 2 bullies that were picking on me all the time. I let them have it. I'll just tell you the truth, because I was all bottled up inside. I didn't know how to forgive myself, much less anybody else. But I was pressuring all that up because we have to take care of ourselves first, like someone said earlier, right? And I didn't know, nobody was mentoring me, nobody was guiding me. My mom was working all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, I could tell you this, that I let out on those 2 bullies, and they never messed with me again, ever. And in fact, nobody did after they had heard what happened. But the thing is, you don't want to be bottled up in that. You want to have forgiveness. You want to talk it out with people. You want to communicate. I can tell you this, that the almost tragedy that happened in this story was at night. I was a lonely kid. I was trying to find my way. I had a couple of friends. One was 21 and one was 17. They were going off for the weekend, right, guys? And I could tell you the story was I was ready to go with them, and I told Mom I'll be back overnight. We're going to go out and camp in the woods. Well, what happened, my friends, was this. I was a healthy young boy, and I went in and I touched that door handle of that truck, and when I did, I got sick as a dog. And I think, okay, why am I sick? I'm healthy. Why am I sick? I got so sick I almost passed out. So here's what happened, guys. This is what happened 12 hours later. 12 hours later, I would have been sitting right where that train hit that truck. So it says that, life is short. Well, that was short. I would have been a 16-year-old dead boy had I got into that truck. And my mom would have lost not only one son and a husband, but two sons and a husband. My mom, she lived for 46 more years after my dad died. And I can tell you this, that I stood by her side every time I could. Take care of your parents, you still have them. Ryan was talking about losing his dad recently. Others are talking about all the family members they lost. I think Valerie's talking about how many she had lost. My wife and I have been married 30 years this year. And I can tell you that we've seen hundreds of funerals, okay? Literally, we go to a lot of them, friends and family. So loss is hard to deal with. And I got about 4 minutes left. So Ryan, I'm trying to stay on track, brother. But when I go to cope with a lost one, when you help somebody cope with losing a loved one, then you realize that everyone deals with death differently. You have to understand that. Open up and talk about it with somebody. You can't hold it in like I did when those bullies were picking on me. I let them have it one day. If you don't open up to talk to somebody, I had hospice counseling right at me after my mom died. I took care of her 46 years, but she died in my arms on Thanksgiving Day 4 years ago this past Thanksgiving. But do you know that God had it arranged for her to pass away in a facility that my wife actually was the executrix over and wrote the checks for that facility? I mean, who would have thought one bed in the city was in a place that her ex-boss, her former boss before he retired, wrote the check for? Okay? So God had that all worked out. But if you don't talk to somebody like a hospice counselor, if you don't talk to somebody that you can, a dear friend, to say, look, man, look, sister, I'm hurting, and let them pray with you and talk it out. It is so hard. It is so hard to get through those things alone. We weren't meant to be alone, ladies and gentlemen. We were not. Allow your friends to be there for you and let them help you, okay? Not spread your stuff on Facebook, but to literally talk over a cup of coffee the feelings we're having. Know that you're allowed to feel sad. Put down the drinks. Don't just try to drown everything, right? Book a ticket someplace you've never been to get away and clear your head. And do what you love doing. Life is short. Somebody mentioned the dash. I talk about the dash all the time, right? Now here's the story of God's mercy. 1991, my daughter was 9 years old. My wife and I, she'd gotten real sick with us, and she was about to pass. The doctor told me I'd be setting up a funeral if I didn't let him do these expensive tests on her, right? I was upset. But I tell you what, I trusted God. We got people together and we prayed. 24 hours later, okay, my daughter is sitting up in bed eating breakfast and asking for her dad to come to the hospital, right? I had been up for days. People made me go home and just get a little rest. So we've talked about a story of tragedy with my dad. We talked about a story of an almost tragedy with me in that 16-year-old crash I was almost in. And the story of God's mercy is God turned it around for my daughter to live, who's now in her 30s with 2 grandchildren for us. And her and her husband are doing a marvelous work for God. So see, you can do these things, but life is short. Life is like a vapor, and it's gone. If you're cooking, you know what a vapor does. It disappears, right? So I can tell you, I'm about to end here. I got about a minute left. I am Dr. Keith with Dads4Life.org. There's our banner back there. I reach out and I encourage, enhance, and enrich dads all over the world, but now I'm reaching single moms. Remember, my mom was a widow, single mom for years, right? So I helped her, so I can help them now. We're working to help moms and dads, but it started out helping dads. We also do that to try to get you to make sure you're spending every daily connection with your kid that you can possibly make. You may have one, or like my friend Billy, who has 9, right? But he spends quality, individual time. So Laura, set up. I'm getting ready to close in just a minute. If Dads for Life can help you in any way, maybe just we're a resource center. We can help you find out. When I speak somewhere, I do conferences or whatever, I'm always looking to help somebody else. If you need help, find that help that you need, because life is short, my friends. Don't try to take it on alone. We are Dad's #4 courses and training, and if you want to go there and look at all that. But tomorrow night I'm on a radio show with Success Radio Movement with Sean Wyman, and I'm making a big announcement what's happening with Dads for Life a little bit later this month. I am very excited about what God's doing. So trust God. Jeremiah 29:11, one of my favorites outside of John 3:16, says, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, plans to give you hope for the future. That's what God will do for you, my friends. And until next time I've invited on this train, this is saying, I'm getting off right now because Laura Roar's coming in. God bless each and every one of you. Be blessed, be encouraged, and go out and do something for somebody tomorrow. Bye-bye.